The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 2 has finally been released on Disney+, and with it we were taken to the icy world that we saw in the Season 2 trailer that many of us have been speculating about ever since it came out. So, I'm going to break down everything that went down in the episode and how it connects to the other Star Wars TV series and films. So, before we get into it, make sure you absolutely force crush the subscribe button for more awesome Mandalorian Season 2 content. To start off the episode, we immediately see the Mando rapidly racing through the sandy dunes of Tatooine, with Boba Fett's helmet and jetpack from the last episode on board. Moments later, however, he is ambushed and flung off of his speeder, sending him tumbling to the ground and destroying his bike. One of the tiny bounty hunters who did this immediately takes the child hostage, holding a knife to his throat. In order to save the child, Djarin offers the bounty hunter his jetpack, but as soon as he took it, Mando pressed the button, sending him flying into the air and eventually back down with a crash, killing him immediately. After the child is brought back to safety, Mando begins his long stroll into Mos Eisley, where he eventually finds his way into the very familiar cantina. Inside, he meets up with Mando, the lovely woman who repaired his ship and looked after the child in the earlier episodes. The woman is playing sabacc with a creature called Dr. Mandible, who says he can give Djarin a lead to yet another Mandalorian if he covers his call for the game. Surprisingly, this creature was also inside of the cantina in Chapter 5 of last season as Toro Calican was calling Djarin over. The Mando then pays the creature's call as Mando eventually wins the game because of something known as an idiot's array. This is of course a reference to the hand that could be played in sabacc, but also to Solo: A Star Wars Story and the Star Wars Rebels episode that has the same name, featuring Lando Calrissian. After the creature loses the game, Mando introduces a contact who has a canister of her eggs, which need to be brought to the watery moon of Trask, orbiting the gas giant Caliban. This almost certainly rules out the planet from the trailer actually being Mon Cala or Sorelia from the Star Wars 2020 comics, unfortunately. It is still possible that they can't make it to Caliban, so are forced to reroute to Mon Cala, but Mon Cala is a significant distance away from Tatooine, so that is unlikely. Interestingly, the Frog Lady was also in the cantina during Chapter 5 of last season, unless this was another member of her species who looks exactly the same. The Frog Lady then also promises to bring Djarin to a new Mandalorian covert nearby if her eggs are safely transported, which of course the Mando cannot turn down. Awesomely, the Frog Lady is being voiced by the man himself, D. Bradley Baker, who of course voices Captain Rex and every other clone trooper in the Clone Wars series. As the Mando is about to embark on his adventure, a pit droid first seen in The Phantom Menace brings Mando the same cooked crate dragon meat, which they of course gathered in the last episode. As the group board the Razor Crest, the child begins to have a weird fascination with the eggs and even uses the Force to pull them towards him inside of the jar before savagely eating one of them. It just really goes to show you that this child is a completely blank slate who will be taking all of his morals and life advice from the Mando himself. I can't wait to see how he evolves. Following this, the Razor Crest is swiftly intercepted by two New Republic X-Wings, with one being piloted by Trapper Wolf, who of course is played by the man himself, Dave Filoni, and the other being played by Paul Lee. The Mando then awesomely attempts to end the interaction by saying, "May the Force be with you," but once Trapper Wolf realizes that the Razor Crest was in the proximity of the New Republic correctional vessel from the last season, Mando immediately flees the area, beginning a massive chase. I think it's awesome that Djarin knows the phrase "May the Force be with you," but has no idea about the Jedi. That really shows you just how much of a myth they had become and how effective Palpatine's propaganda about the Jedi actually was. Unfortunately, this results in the Mando crash landing brutally down on the ice planet from the trailer, knocking everyone on board unconscious for a short period of time. Because the Razor Crest obviously never went into hyperspace after leaving Tatooine, this of course destroys all of the theories that we had after the trailer came out that believed the ice planet was Ilum or Starkiller Base. It is still definitely possible that we do see Ilum in the show, because the child or Djarin certainly need a weapon to take on the Darksaber, but now that becomes a lot more unlikely. When the Mando wakes up, he finds the child eating the eggs once again, much to his disgust. Following this, the Frog Lady, who of course doesn't speak Galactic Basic, hooks herself up to the RA-7 protocol droid from Season 1's Vocabulator, allowing her to speak with Mando clearly. She quickly warns the Mando that they must urgently bring the eggs to the water planet because it is the only planet hospitable to their species, and even talks down to him about the stories she had heard about the mystical Mandalorians. Because of this, she absolutely panics and rushes to a nearby hot spring where she releases all of her eggs so that they can grow. While this is happening, however, the child does something truly horrifying. He eats a white ice spider whole. I wish that was all, but unfortunately, this awakens the mother spider and all of her children, sending them on a horrifically creepy chase through the ice caverns. Now, these do look very similar to the Kinraths from the Old Republic and unfinished Clone Wars episodes, but also the Kryknas from Star Wars Rebels. Taking a look at the Ralph McQuarrie concept art, which is the inspiration for the design of the Kryknas in Rebels, these are the exact same creatures. Even the eggs surrounding the Krykna in the concept art are the exact same ones that Baby Yoda ate from and hatched once the mother awakened. Now, maybe Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have simply created a new creature with a slightly modified design based on the same concept art, but these really could be the same Kryknas that took Captain Rex hostage in Star Wars Rebels. These ones are missing the fangs on the Kryknas that we see in the Rebel base on Adalon in Star Wars Rebels, but maybe they were initially the same species but soon evolved in different directions after being split up and dropped on the ice planet. So let me know down below if you think these really are the Kryknas from Star Wars Rebels. Mando is eventually backed up inside of the Razor Crest with hundreds of these creepy creatures crawling their way around the ship until he is eventually able to successfully trap himself inside of the cockpit and keep the ice spiders away, at least for now. And I don't know about you guys, but this episode almost has the same feel as The Honorable Ones from Rebels, which of course is where Agent Kallus was stuck inside of a deep crater on one of the icy moons of Geonosis with Rebel agent Garazeb Aurelios. The spiders then frighteningly make their way to the child, where one mounts his little green head, about to take a giant bite, but the frog lady saves the day and blasts the spider with pinpoint accuracy. As a last resort, the Mandalorian then frantically attempts to get the Razor Crest to lift off, but is viciously held down by the ice spiders, putting him in an incredibly dangerous situation. Luckily for him, however, a mysterious figure begins blasting rapidly, killing all of the ice spiders in quick succession, giving Mando a chance to escape and investigate. When he exits the Razor Crest, he quickly discovers Trapper Wolf and the other X-Wing pilot have returned just in time to save his life. The two X-Wing pilots then begin to list off Mando's long rap sheet of crimes that he committed on the New Republic prison ship, but quickly changed their tone when they mentioned that he was seen attempting to stop the three criminals and took action to save the life of the man from the New Republic Correctional Corps, Djarin, who of course was played by Matt Lanter, the voice of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars. The pilots then tell Mando that he really should be in holocuffs right now, but because of the reasons they already stated, they let him free, but warn him that he must use a transponder the next time he travels in New Republic space. From this scene, we also get a cool little fact, which is that the purple Twi'lek prisoner, Chin, from last season, actually had the prisoner code X6911. Let me know in the comments down below what you think that means. Following this, we get another small little Easter egg with a slowed down version of the Resistance theme being played as Trapper Wolf and Carson Teva leave the area in their X-Wings. This is probably a small amount of foreshadowing for the formation of the Resistance not many years down the line from where we are now. And to end the episode, the Razor Crest bursts out of the ice caverns of the planet and into the dark void of space, ready to fight another day. This episode will of course be a two-part episode, where next week we will definitely see the continuation of this arc, and certainly visit Caliban, which was the original mission. But let me know down in the comments below if you were happy with this episode or underwhelmed. To me, the episode was great, but I would of course love to see the plot pushed forward much more quickly than this, especially with only 6 episodes remaining in the season. So that is my full breakdown plus recap of The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1, The Passenger. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to be notified as soon as I release my breakdown video for next week's episode, Chapter 11. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.